Campus 3-minute thesis competition.
Catch that. Could you try again?
My name is Dr. Damian Kohal. I am the head of the Department of Preclinical and Health Sciences in the Faculty of Medical Sciences, and I will be moderating today's proceedings. We have a very extensive but timely program today, and I know with the good help of my colleagues who are part of the committee that helped in the staging of this competition, along with the cooperation of all our audience members, our distinguished panel of judges, and other persons working technically in the background of today's offering, quite sure that we should be able to get through the presentation and the competition in a timely fashion. So I'm going to start today's proceedings, and I'm going to ask that Mrs. Alwyn Antoine open her microphone and camera and start us off with a word of prayer.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's go ahead. Heavenly Father, we invite your divine presence among us this afternoon. I want you to bless the organization team, the participants, and all those who are on this platform this afternoon. I invite you, dear Father, to be among us, and I pray that the competition will be exciting, keen, and a rewarding experience for all. I pray, dear Lord, that you will lead and direct this afternoon. And I ask everything with thanksgiving in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Antoine. We are grateful for those kind words of prayer. We appreciate that. That's the best way to get most of proceedings started, all right? To start it with the blessings of the Almighty. So moving forward, as I would have highlighted, there would have been a very hardworking committee that would have played a significant role in planning for the execution of today's event. And within that committee, of course, we had important representatives from the library staff at the University of West Indies Cable campus, starting with the campus librarian officer in charge, Mrs. Judith Toppin. We also had the kind leadership who chaired the committee, the planning committee of today's proceedings, by none other than the medical librarian at the Faculty of Medical Sciences Library at the CSB, that is Miss Janine Knight. We're going to ask Miss Judith Toppin to open her microphone and camera and give the official welcome and also pass on some greetings to colleagues at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, Dr. Kohal. Good afternoon, colleagues. Welcome to the 3-minute thesis competition. I want to extend a welcome to all members of the campus community, members of faculty, heads of department, our distinguished judges. These include Dr. Cora Belgrave, head of the Department of Language, Linguistics and Literature, Dr. Thea Scantlebury Manning, Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology, Senator Dr. Christina Hines, Senator and the Head of Department for Government, Sociology, Social Work and Psychology, and Lieutenant Colonel Brown, the officer in charge of the Faculty of Law Library. Participants in the 3MT competition, Welcome all. This afternoon, I have the pleasant task of welcoming you all to this leg of the 3MT competition. By way of a short background, the 3MT competition was started in 2008 by the University of Queensland in Australia and has spread across the world as franchise and is now held in over 85 countries across the world. The Mona Library held its first 3-minute competition in 2021, and in 2022 invited Cave Hill and St. Augustine to participate. Last year, Cave Hill's participation was coordinated by Anne-Marie White, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Anne-Marie for the work done to ensure that Cave Hill was very well represented. This year, we are hosting our first solo competition. The winners of this competition will move on to take part in the regional final, which is being coordinated by the Mona Library. I also wish to recognize at this time, and the chair also mentioned, the contribution of the current chair of this committee, Ms. Janine Knight, and the committee members who worked tirelessly to ensure that this competition took place. I thank them. Now, libraries as supporters of teaching, learning, and research play a critical role in supporting both access to and the dissemination of research. It is vitally important that libraries partner with members of faculty on activities such as this, since it demonstrates the collaborative approach that must be taken to teaching and research. It is really very pleasing to learn how readily members of faculty agree to collaborate with the library and to serve as judges for this competition. We hope that this is a positive sign of continued cooperation between the libraries and the faculties. The concept of delivering a short speech on a topic of research is both intriguing, challenging, and in some ways maybe a little daunting. But it encourages the postgrad student researcher to engage in a way that is meaningful and can be understood and appreciated by an audience beyond the confines of the university setting. So I would just like to end this short introduction by giving you an anecdote of an experience that I had some years ago. When I was an undergraduate student, I asked someone who had recently been awarded a PhD what was their thesis about. They paused for a moment and quietly responded to me, "You would not understand." I pressed further, but the person was convinced that I was incapable of understanding what their PhD thesis was all about. To this day, I still do not know what the thesis was about, and I never had the courage to ask that person again. It is my hope that this competition will demonstrate that regardless of how complicated a topic of research may appear to be, that a large part of the successful research lies in the ability of the researcher to explain the subject or topic so that all can appreciate and understand the value of the research that they have undertaken. So with that, I wish all the participants success. This competition offers the opportunity for them to showcase their research. And just by participating in this competition, you have embarked on the road to success. I thank you.
Thank you for those brief remarks, Mrs. Toppin. Thank you also for providing some background about the 3-minute thesis competition. And you are quite right to say that this is a competition which started from the University of Queensland, and they themselves have outlined that the 3-minute thesis competition to them was a new format of research presentation that builds upon the classic elevator pitch, right? And challenging our students now to be able to outline their thesis, not just to explain it so that it becomes understandable by persons who may not be in that field, but now be able to explain it within 3 minutes itself is quite a challenge. So I know everyone who is here is certainly happy to receive the presentations to come later in our program, where some of our students will be challenging themselves, right, among challenging against each other to outline their thesis within 3 minutes and to make sure that it is clear. I understand also that there will be some visual aids in the process. So before moving further, both Mrs. Toppin and myself have alluded to the fact that the planning of this competition would have been a very important task, which had to be undertaken by a committee, and the committee being chaired by Ms. Janine Knight. To give some further background on the competition, I'm going to invite Ms. Janine Knight at this point to say a little bit more about the competition and what we should anticipate to come following the introduction of the judges.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Clearfield Campus's first 3 minutes thesis competition. The 3 minutes thesis is an academic research competition for PhD students. These students have 3 minutes to present a compelling oration on their thesis and its significance. The competition would challenge the students to consolidate their ideas and research discoveries and explain them concisely and effectively in 3 minutes in a language appropriate to a non-specialist audience. Active PhD candidates who have successfully passed their MPhil upgrade seminar, including candidates whose thesis is under submission by the date of their first presentation, are eligible to participate in this competition. Since the inception of this competition in 2008 at the University of Queensland, Australia, students from more than 900 universities in 85 countries across the globe have been participating and benefiting from this meaningful learning experience. In 2021, Mona Library brought the competition to the UWI by staging the UWI Mona edition of the competition. In 2022, the competition was expanded to the other UWI campuses and titled the UWI edition, where Clearfield was represented by 5 students. This year, Sidney Martin Library is hosting the first Clearfield campus 3 minutes thesis competition under the charge of the local 3 minutes thesis committee. This competition serves as an avenue for PhD students to enhance their research skills while providing a conduit for the dissemination of information to a general audience. This Clearfield leg of the competition has 5 participants representing SALISES, School of Education, CERMES, and the Faculty of Culture and Performing Arts. The participants will be judged on 3 criteria: comprehension, content, and engagement. The judges will select the winner and the runner-up, and you, the audience, will get the opportunity to vote for your favorite presentation, the People's Choice winner. This competition celebrates the research that is being conducted here at the Clearfield campus. Further, it demonstrates the academic library's contribution to the advancement of teaching, learning, and research of the university. Thank you for joining us, and you can look forward to a very engaging competition. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ms. Knight. We know it certainly involved a lot of hard work with getting us prepared towards execution today. So I echo the sentiments of the campus librarian in thanking you for your chairmanship of the committee leading us up to today's competition. So I have some other tasks according to the program today, and one of them currently is the introduction of the judges. But before I do that, I think it would be remiss of me not to at least outline to the audience and the participants some of the prizes that we have in store for them today. So I'm just going to go through very quickly and to notify everyone that each participant will receive a document folder with their names engraved with compliments of the binderists in the Martin Library and 1 certificate of participation. Our People's Choice awardee will receive a $150 Barbados dollars voucher compliments of the UWI Bookshop. Second place will receive 1 tablet and 1 account at the UWI Credit Union in the amount of $150 Barbados. And our first place winner will receive a plaque, 1 tablet, and 1 day pass for 2 complimentary passes to Sandals Barbados and Sandals Royal Barbados. So I anticipate that everyone will be gunning for that first prize. Now, of course, we can't have our judges doing all of this hard work without recognizing their time and efforts. So each judge will receive a document folder with compliments of the Binder Sidney Martin Library, right? And so that everyone is clear, the official prize giving ceremony will be held in the gallery in the Sidney Martin Library at the end of the month, and the date and time for the official ceremony will be announced at a later date. Now, at this point, I have the distinguished pleasure of repeating or outlining who our judges are this afternoon. We have judges from different backgrounds, all from different faculties, and it speaks to the level of diversity of presentations that we anticipate will come later during the presentation by the graduate students. But let me start off by introducing our chief judge, who is Dr. Core Belgrave. You would know, right? You would know Dr. Belgrave as being from the Faculty of Humanities and Education. She has worn various hats apart from educator, deputy dean, head of department. And again, I anticipate that Dr. Belgrave will be keeping the judges aligned with their thoughts and deliberations throughout today's proceedings, and definitely will be acting in her capacity as chief judge. Next on the list is Lieutenant Colonel Junior Brown, who we know is from the Law Library. And of course, by his titles, we know that he's a military man. So it fits him quite well being a judge of today's competition to keep all the judges and the participants in line. Next on the list, we have Dr. Theus Canterbury Manning, who is a colleague of ours and certainly a colleague of mine, because she is from the faculty closest to my faculty, which is the Faculty of Science and Technology, currently a deputy dean, but we know Dr. Theus Canterbury Manning wears many hats on campus as well. So we're thankful for her participation as a judge this evening. And last but not least, we have Senator Dr. Christina Hines, who we know is from the Faculty of Social Sciences and wears many hats, apart from being senator, currently head of department of the Department of Government, Sociology, Psychology, and Social Work, all right? I think I may not have gotten all of those words in the right place, but I think I covered them all. So we anticipate that we're going to have a very interesting competition. It will be fun, but at the same time, very constructive, very constructive for all our participants. As I said, it's a mammoth of a task to be able to say what your thesis is about, especially to persons who are not of your discipline, much less to do it in 3 minutes. Before we get into the presentations, I just want to make sure that everyone is clear on the rules that will be engaged throughout today's talks. So again, and this is primarily for the purpose of our audience who are joining remotely. Note that the presentations are limited to 3 minutes, and the competitors exceeding 3 minutes are going to be disqualified. So the competition is called a 3-minute thesis for a specific reason, not 4 minutes, not 5, but 3 minutes. Of course, you can go beyond 3 minutes. Beyond meaning less than 3 minutes, not beyond as over 3 minutes. Also, presentations are considered to have been commenced when a presenter starts their presentation through speech, right? Timing does not include a 3-minute title slide, and commences from when the competitor starts speaking. So for the competitors, please make note that as soon as you start speaking, the timer will start. Now, the videos that will be incorporated in today's presentation, they must meet the following criteria. They should be filmed on the horizontal, filmed on plain background, filmed from a static position filmed from one camera angle, contain the 3M title slide, contain the 3-minute title thesis PowerPoint slide, top right corner, right side, cut to within the initial presentation slide. Now, a single static slide is permitted in the presentation, right? This means that no slide transitions, no animations or movements of any description. And this must be made visible continuously or cut to as many times as you would like for a maximum of 1 minute, or submitted via email if not included in the presentation. The 3-minute audio must be continuous, no sound edits or breaks, no additional props, costumes, musical instruments, laboratory equipment, animated backgrounds are permitted within the recordings. Presentations are to be spoken word, no poems or songs. No additional electronic media, sound or video files are permitted within the video recording. Decision of the adjudicating panel is final, so no one will be questioning the judges' deliberations and final consensus as it relates to the ranking of the presentations, as we will see them later. So these rules would have been shared with the competitors before. So I'm quite sure that they have complied with all. This was primarily for the purpose of ensuring that persons listening in were aware of the rules of engagement. So we have 5 presentations this afternoon. We have persons representing SALISIS, which is affiliated with the Faculty of Social Sciences. We have SERMES, which is affiliated with the Faculty of Science and Technology. We have School of Education. We have the Faculty of Culture, Creative and Performing Arts. And we have 2 presentations from the School of Education. So our presenters this evening will be Vania Patrick Drakes from SALISIS, Bethia Thomas from SERMES, Dexter Lane from the School of Education, Arika Jelani from the Faculty of Culture, Creative and Performing Arts, and also from the School of Education, Gloria Ains. Before our presenters start their presentations, it is important for me to outline that after each presentation, the judges will be given 4 minutes to deliberate, make some notes, and of course, have some thoughts about how they place that presentation within the grand scheme of things. After all the presentations, right, the judges will be given an additional 20 minutes to further go through their notes and start their ranking so that we can distribute the prizes accordingly. And during this time, we anticipate that the voting and the summation of that voting for the People's Choice Award will also be transacted. So without no further ado, let us move into today's presentation. So the first presentation that we are going to witness this evening is from Vania Patrick Drakes from SALISIS.
Global racial incidents, whether lethal and highly sensationalized like the murder of George Floyd in 2020, or more subtle and spoken about behind closed doors, continue to demonstrate the persistent, complex, socioeconomic and political impacts of colonialism and coloniality on societies today. Within these societies, individuals and communities' social and economic experiences and outcomes are impacted not just by the range and quality of services provided by the government, but also by persons' intersecting identities and subsequent proximity to or distance from privilege and power. One identity construct that is heavily discussed and that may influence individuals' proximity to power is race, along with its intersection with other factors like socioeconomic status and social capital, or who you know. Two Barbados no more. Zero tolerance to discrimination here. Road to the segregated republic. In Barbados, discourses in the media, as well as anecdotal discussions, regularly allude to the idea of two Barbadoses, and inequitable treatment and experiences across sectors, including criminal justice, healthcare, and education, being influenced prominently by identity factors like race. Though race and its implications have been widely researched in the Anglophone Caribbean, contemporary research on race constructions, discourses, and lived experiences is not as extensive within Barbados. Additionally, the many global and regional racial incidents happening in the past few years means that much of the earlier work done doesn't take the unique, significant contemporary context into account. With this in mind, this thesis leans on social cognitive theory and critical race theory and uses a qualitative approach to analyze the constructions and experiences of race among a select group of youth, as well as the types of discussions in news media, social media, and governmental policies that are happening in Barbados related to race. Although many studies have been conducted on Caribbean millennials in areas like delinquency, education, and youth policy, a significant research gap exists regarding the critical investigation of the intersection between Caribbean youth, public discourses, and race. Constructions and experiences surrounding race and the factors that influence these have direct implications on future societal norms, policies, and practices, particularly as the island navigates its new republic status and seeks reparatory justice. Implications also exist for social interactions, identity construction, and perceptions of security and belonging, all of which have a direct impact on the social and economic well-being of Barbadian society.
Excellent. Well within 3 minutes based on my timing. Now I'm going to ask the judges to deliberate on the presentation for 4 minutes or thereabout, and then we move to our next presenter. Thank you, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us over those 4 minutes of deliberation. We're now going to move to the next presenter, who is Bethia Thomas from CERMES.
Hello, everyone. The Caribbean region is well known for its sun, sea, and sand. Tourists come here to bask in the sunshine, enjoy the beautiful turquoise waters, and sample some good local cuisine. But imagine, instead of paradise, they find nasty, Hello, everyone. The Caribbean region is well known for its sun, sea, and sand. Tourists come here to bask in the sunshine, enjoy the beautiful turquoise waters, and sample some good local cuisine. But imagine, instead of paradise, they find nasty, dirty, smelly, sargassum-infected waters, damaged boat engines and all kinds of fishing gear, disappearing marine species, and smaller catch sizes. From 2011, the shores of the Caribbean have been inundated with unprecedented amounts of pelagic sargassum, and this has continued almost indefinitely. The record-breaking events of 2018 demonstrated that it could not be business as usual, and sargassum had become a real natural hazard, affecting the tourism and fishery sectors and the most vulnerable among us, the poorest of the poor. My research sought to conduct a participatory vulnerability analysis for pelagic sargassum influx events in 3 communities in St. Lucia, namely Dennery, Raleigh, and Micoud, to characterize the vulnerability and develop adaptation plans that would be specific to the local populations. Through this research, we were able to achieve the following. 1. Develop 18 indicators to assess the 3 components of vulnerability, namely exposure, sensitivity, and adaptive capacity for each of the communities to pelagic sargassum influx events. Number 2, aggregate these indicators to develop a composite vulnerability index for each community. Number 3, identify environmental, social, and economic drivers of vulnerability for each community. Number 4, develop community-specific adaptation and management plans for pelagic sargassum that would feed into the draft National Sargassum Management Plan. And my favorite, number 5, develop 3 participatory videos, 1 for each community, that allowed the voice of the invisible to be effectively communicated to the policymakers. Moving forward, we recognize that sargassum is here to stay, well, at least for now. We believe that communities with the right governmental support, ongoing scientific research, capacity building, and readily available financing can engage in alternative uses of sargassum and transform this terrible curse into a potential blessing. Thank you for listening.
And thank you for that presentation. As required, I'm going to ask our judges to deliberate for 4 minutes before we move to the next presentation. Can we have some music in the background while we wait on the judges to do their scores and to deliberate? Great. So we are moving along quite nicely. We are on to our third presentation as part of the competition, and we have Mr. Dexter Lane from the School of Education who will be presenting. Just a quick word to our judges that there's no need to go into the breakout rooms for the 4-minute deliberations. You can use the breakout room at the end of the presentations for the 20-minute set of deliberations. So can we move to Mr. Elaine from the School of Education?
Let us recall our past school experiences. Moments of adventure, discovery, and joy spring to mind. However, student voice seemed more dreamy rather than real. In the orchestra of school, despite the desire to be sounded, student voice was at risk. Presently, research indicates that little has been done globally to create opportunities for students to participate in or influence decisions that impact their educational experiences and future. Nonetheless, student voice is a term that permeates the secondary school landscape in Barbados, and rightly so, considering Barbados ratified the United Nations Children's Rights Convention in 1990. Article 12 of the UNCRC safeguards the right of every child to express their views, feelings, and wishes in all matters affecting them, and to have their views considered and taken seriously. Still, perspective of student voice is dichotomous. Some educators assert that student voice sounds boisterously in our schools, while some students claim that these educators have to be tone deaf. When are we ever included, they wonder? Hence, this study seeks to investigate how student voice is practiced in Barbadian secondary schools. Through interviews and survey instruments, it will unravel the mystery of how student voice is truly perceived by both students and educators, and determine if there is a difference between what is said and what is actually done in our schools. This research will also bring to the fore the challenges that derail the institutionalization of student voice and harmonize organizational structures that effectively facilitate student voice initiatives. Now let us reimagine education. Student voice is amplified and is the norm of education practice. Student critical thinking, creativity, and innovation are communicated, and collaborative relationships between students and adults are realized. Student perspectives are no longer ignored, but acted on in all spheres of educational matters. Schools are indeed places where both children and adults pine to be. Genuine student leaders abound, and the education system is transformed. Success is the graffiti that adorns our schools.
All right, excellent. We're moving along nicely. Judges, you have 4 minutes to gather your thoughts on the presentation, and then we will move over to our fourth presenter. Some music in the background while the judges deliberate, please. Excellent. Now we're moving on to our fourth presenter this evening, and our fourth presenter is Irika Jelani from the Faculty of Culture, Creative and Performing Arts.
This research analyzes the use of plants and herbs in the spiritual and ritual healing practices among Afro-Caribbean spiritual traditions, namely spiritual Baptists in Barbados and other Eastern and Southern Caribbean countries. It shows the efficacy and value of bush medicine and the curative powers of sacred herbal remedies in the form of bush teas, baths, poultices, smudging, sprinkling, and other methods used in preventative, therapeutic, and alternative healthcare systems for general well-being. The study comes at a critical juncture in Caribbean society, where escalating cases of chronic, non-communicable, and communicable diseases are prevalent in Caribbean societies. Various statistics on NCD shows there is a high rate of diabetes, hypertension, and heart ailments amongst the population. This declining health situation threatens our survival and sustainable development. The research questions uncovers what motivates and inspires spiritual leaders, bush doctors and ritual specialists to use plants and herbs, and how the knowledge of this ancient ancestral healing practice is acquired and transferred. Furthermore, it outlines demarcation procedures of sacred spaces, investigates the power of praise, chants, and other divine songs, and brings to the fore issues of prohibition and the stigma of obeah hindering the progress of Afro-Caribbean religious practicing. The data is collected through ethnographic approaches, using interviews and discussions with spiritual leaders and traditional healers, participant observation, critical reviews from similar researchers, and case studies of persons who have received healing from plants and herbs. Jerome Handler, Richard Sheridan, among others, mentioned that herbal remedies were prevalent among Africans throughout the centuries of colonial slavery. Damien Cohol and Michael Laguerre agreed that presently herbal medicine continued to play a vital role in the lives and ecological circumstances of Caribbean people, affirming that herbs are the healing of the nation. Diane Strait outlined that every island of the Caribbean is a pharmacological garden where all types of plants and herbs can be found. Instead of our people clinging to only Western conventional medicine, it is important for us to develop a decolonization paradigm by reclaiming a strong sense of our African ancestry and returning to using more traditional herbal remedies.
Sorry about that. Excellent. Judges, you have about 4 minutes to deliberate on the presentation by Irika, and then we will reconvene for the fifth and final presentation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, judges, audience, committee members, we are on to the last presentation. And this presentation will be given by Gloria Haynes from the School of Education.
There's an elephant in the room, but how many have seen it? Destructive leadership behavior is rearing its ugly head within organizations, and it appears that the school is no exception. The once hidden secret of workplace abuse is rapidly being exposed in the corporate world. The exact literature is revealing the workers' voices of the impact of leaders' public ridicule, humiliation, bullying, toxic administration, and the like on their mental health, productivity, and psychological well-being. But what is happening within the walls of the education workplace? Little is known of this elephant within the annals of Barbadian schools. It is against this backdrop that my exploratory mixed method research seeks to ascertain the occurrence of destructive leadership behaviors in schools and the effects, if any, on teachers' mental and physical health and psychological well-being. Knowledge of these issues among teachers or workers is crucial to the goal of providing effective schooling. Let's face it, if teachers are suffering from these negative experiences, it is likely that this would affect their performance in the classroom and lead to foreign relationships, which are sacrosanct to maintaining effective schools. I intend to employ convenient sampling involving gatekeepers, those who hold the knowledge of persons experiencing workplace abuse. This will be punctuated by the snowballing technique, each one, reach one, to further gather those who are willing to share their lived experiences. To manage or allay any fear of reprisals, I intend to employ all necessary ethical protocols and conduct the study in settings external to the schools. Barbados stands on the cusp of education reform. As stakeholders and policymakers seek to reimagine education, wouldn't it be wonderful if any existing negative behaviors could be successfully addressed and pathways developed for better relations within the education setting? Findings can certainly contribute to developing strategies to inform the practices of 21st century leaders in creating positive climates for better leader-follower engagement within organizations. Let's aim to remove the elephant in the room. Let workers get to practice their craft in a wholesome organizational climate.
Okay, so colleagues, audience members, judges, committee, and other organizers and facilitators, that brings us to the end of our presentations this afternoon. We are now going to allow the judges to compare notes and deliberate over 20 minutes. And at this point, the judges will be using the breakout room that has been created for this purpose. During this time, we will also have the People's Choice vote. And of course, upon the completion of the judge's deliberation, we have our chief judge who will provide the feedback from the judges to everyone. And upon the completion of the feedback from the judges, I will proceed with the announcement of our winners today. All right, so we will have some background music over the times that will be considered fairly dead periods, but we should also be having our People's Choice vote during the 20 minutes. Thank you. Just encouraging everyone to go ahead and vote. There is a People's Choice vote poll that has been established. So please go ahead. All our audience members, persons who joined in to observe the competition, please go ahead and place your vote. Thank you. Colleagues, unfortunately, one of our presenters' name was omitted from the poll. So we are going to reissue the poll and we're going to ask everyone to go ahead again and place their votes. right? Important that we capture all of our presenters in our poll, and unfortunately, one name was omitted. So we apologize for the slight inconvenience. There were a few persons asking about how to go ahead and register your vote. So the vote is by a poll. So you should see a poll on your screen asking you to indicate your choice of the presentation that you thought met the criteria for today's competition. You will see the poll, the new poll, or the revised poll, sorry, in about 5 minutes.
The power of an idea, an expression that can give rise to a new realm of possibilities, provide the impetus to drive transformative progress and evolve into a revolutionary change. The idea that Indigenous higher education can help generations of West Indians to better themselves has not only spurred personal and regional development, it has also spawned solutions to numerous regional challenges and has accelerated this region's developmental trajectory. Over the past several decades, we at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus have witnessed adversity yielding to opportunity, enabling the idea of our researchers and innovators to flourish and add or create value for society.
The existence and the sustained functioning of the University of the West Indies as a regional institution stand out as the greatest single accomplishment of the people of the Caribbean.
Our scholars and alumni are often in the vanguard of many developmental initiatives, from idea to implementation. And whatever the challenge, the university has remained resolute and resilient. Our Faculty of Law, which has provided a bedrock for much of the region's jurisprudence, has graduated legal luminaries who have gone on to occupy a number of the highest offices within and outside the region. Established in 1970 as the first faculty, it has also produced alumni whose imprint can be found on every facet of Caribbean society, sharing expert counsel on matters ranging from international trade to climate change negotiations, all of which add significant value to our society. While the Law Library leverages its unparalleled collection of Caribbean legal cases to international clients as part of the value creation process. Similarly, our advancements in medical as well as pure and applied sciences have earned global acclaim. Our pursuit of excellence in research for development has already earned the University of the West Indies high billing on the Times Higher Education ranking. However, the university has demonstrated its value to society not only in academic pursuit but also in times of acute need, notably during the public health response to COVID-19. UWI researchers undertook the mathematical modeling simulation to help regional governments calibrate their public health protocol at various critical junctures of the pandemic, while hundreds of student volunteers helped to map and ultimately contain the first community outbreak in Barbados by visiting every household. In keeping with the vision to foster a spirit of resilience, the Cave Hill campus is dedicated to providing a nurturing environment for our innovators, researchers, and entrepreneurs, while encouraging critical inquiry and a deep love for scholarship among those enrolled in our expansive undergraduate and postgraduate level programs across 7 faculties: the Faculty of Law, Science and Technology, Medical Sciences, Social Sciences, Humanities and Education, Culture, Creative and Performing Arts, and Sport. Whether advancing innovative product development to combat diabetes, shaping the future of an emergent medical cannabis industry, or seeking alternative energy solutions to help transform our regional economies, our cutting-edge research underpins how we make our economic presence felt within the region. Our ideas are also helping to shape global discourses, notably on issues of climate change and reparations for slavery. We are a global university engaged in collaborative research projects with international partners found in Europe, the United Kingdom, North America, the African continent, and elsewhere. Over the past 6 decades, the outstanding work of our faculty, staff, and students has helped our highly ranked University by the Sea to achieve global acclaim, a recognition for sterling advocacy against the scourge of climate change and advancing the cause of small island developing states.
Our support for this institution ought to be based not only on its capacity to serve, but also on its success in keeping all together. For the work which the university does is valuable, not merely because we get our money's worth, but because through it we know each other better, and best of all, because it should give the people whom we serve a cause for rejoicing.
The Cave Hill journey thus far has been and continues to be an exciting one. Our growing compendium of talent, skills, and expertise unleash unbridled creativity with a stream of ideas that add significant to our Caribbean civilization, demonstrating that the region's human resource development holds the key to even greater Caribbean development.
Good afternoon again. I see most persons are still here. And I'm happy that you decided to remain because you are now at the most exciting portion of the program. So the results are in for the People's Choice vote, but I will withhold those results until I hear from my judges. So at this point, I'm going to invite the Chief Judge, Dr. Cora Belgrave, to come and make some remarks about the presentations and the deliberation by the judges. And then that will follow with me announcing the winners of today's competition. Dr. Belgrave.
Thanks, Dr. Bohal. I want to say first that it was a very difficult process, so I want to commend all those who entered on their performance. Thank you for taking the time out to do this and to show your interest in your research and promoting your research. We were really, we really struggled to separate participants at certain points because everybody had done well in different areas. One of the areas we found was well done was the area of, for those three persons that we thought were the top, they did well in the area of presenting the methods and the objectives of the study, showing the significance of the study, which we felt was important still in remembering that we're dealing with an academic exercise. And yes, and one was very, that stood out was the fact that they were able to give it to us without a lot of jargon so that the man in the street could understand. We also found that people were able to stand and speak well, although some of them, we had a little swaying and so on, but most of them were able to stand and speak and deliver their piece. And the judges were impressed with that. We also struggled to choose the best ones, and we had a lot of deliberation between who we thought would come first and second, but it was a good one. A couple of points that we want to make is in terms of these are the weaknesses where we saw that you could improve. One was in terms of your PowerPoint presentations, that the PowerPoint presentations should be clear and they should be easy to follow. So they should really enhance your presentation and not detract from it. So you shouldn't try to put everything on the slide. Try to put enough that the audience can follow, but the focus is on you and not on this slide. And the other thing was most people, everybody that spoke, we felt they needed to define some of the terms that they were using. We found that there was not enough attempt to define terms that could be important to the study or that could be seen in different ways by different people. But in all, we really enjoyed this competition and the deliberation, so thank you very much. Thanks, Damien.
All right, thank you, Dr. Belgrave. Excellent. As mentioned, and of course, I had to keep, my own biases while moderating.
Yes.
I wish to thank the presenters for participating initially and for taking the time to present their work or try to present their work so that it could, of course, be understandable to our audience and taking the challenge of trying to do it within 3 minutes. And also participating today just to keep this competition going, because there's a need for an enhancement in public oratory skills. As academics, sometimes we are not the best presenters of our work, and we sometimes leave people more confused than sharing and elucidating our ideas. So I want to thank all the presenters and just know that this is a step in the right direction towards completing your respective graduate programs, that you should be able to communicate. In fact, there is such a thing now called scientific communication, which is now a big area itself. And persons who are scientists and academics in general, don't necessarily have to be a scientist, but you can see them plying their trade in journalism, among other areas these days. It's not only in a lab, right, or on a specific platform, you know, for your area of expertise to be delivered. So with that said, I'm moving on quite nicely on our program. What is left for me to do really is to announce our winners for today. And and without no further ado, it would be remiss of me to not mention our People's Choice vote, but I'm going to take my privilege of being a moderator to release those votes after I have been given the actual lists, right, or the rankings by the judges to say who would have been afforded first place, second place, and third place. I previously would have mentioned the prizes, and for the purpose of persons who were not online with us at that time, I am going to, sorry, just recite who I believe, the prizes, and then I will move into the actual victors of today. So the prizes, again, we said that each participant, that's the first thing, each participant will receive a document folder with their names engraved, compliments of the binder in the Sidney Martin Library. And this of course is to say to everyone that you choosing to be a part of this competition was important, and we recognize your efforts. And then our second place winner today will receive a tablet and one account at the UWI Credit Union in the amount of $150 Barbados. And our first place winner will receive one plaque, one tablet, and 1 day pass for 2 complimentary visits to Sandals Barbados and Sandals Royal Barbados, right? And our People's Choice winner will receive 150 voucher compliments of the UWI bookshop. So without no further ado, and of course, drum roll, as I said, all 5 persons are winners in everyone's eyes today, but I have to still announce our top 3 presenters. So starting with third, we have Mr. Dexter Alain, right? And Dexter Alain is from the School of Education, right? So congratulations, Dexter, on a job well done. You did well. Moving on to our second place presenter, drum roll, right? Our second, I think this drum roll for the third place, but the second place presenter today is Gloria Ains. Congratulations, Gloria. Gloria is also from the School of Education. So quite interesting, but we see our educators coming out on top. Excellent. It shows the efficacy of the teaching and the programs that we have in the School of Education. Excellent. And now moving to our first place presenter today. Excellent. And our first place winner is none other than, and let me see if I get the name correctly, right? First place is Irika Jelani, and I promise that this has nothing to do with me moderating today's session.
No, nothing.
Irika, congratulations, very good, job well done. So again, each participant will receive a document folder with their names engraved. However, our first place winner will get a plaque outlining your victorious feat today, a tablet, and you will certainly get your complimentary passes for the Sandals Air Barbados. And our second place winner will get a tablet and an account, right, at the UWI Credit Union. Even if you had an account there before, the cash voucher, of course, will be able to be lodged to the account accordingly. So congratulations to all our victors and presenters. Now, I can't complete my announcements without saying who the People's Choice Vote was, right? And according to the poll that was issued earlier, throughout the period of time that the judges deliberated, I note here that there were two outstanding presentations according to the persons who actually participated in viewing the presentations today, in their eyes. And I will call the person who would have received the second most votes, and then the person who received the most votes after. So the person who received the second most votes is Bethia Thomas, and Bethia Thomas is from Surmis, right? So here we have colleague from Surmis, the Faculty of Science and Technology, coming with the second amount of votes. And that, of course, is by the people, the People's Choice Vote. And then our first place winner of the People's Choice Vote and also the People's Choice Award, who also gets a 150 voucher, compliments of the UWI Bookshop, right, is Miss Gloria Ains. And again, Gloria Ains from the School of Education. So Gloria, you were not only selected by the judges, but you were also selected by the persons who joined today and witnessed today's presentations. So again, congratulations to everyone for a job well done. All that is left for me to do at this point is to introduce Mr. Addison Bradshaw, who will be moving the vote of thanks for today's competition.
Thank you, Dr. Kohal. On behalf of the Cave Hill Campus 3-Minute Thesis Committee, I would like to offer special thanks to Sandoz Barbados, the UWI Credit Union, and the UWI Bookshop for their sponsorship and assistance in making the competition worthwhile for our participants. I would like to thank the judges, the students, the campus, and the Sidney Martin Library for assisting us in curating this event, and extend thanks to Mrs. Alwyn Antoine for her opening prayer, Mr. Brian Alcock for his work behind the scenes, Dr. Damien Kohal for his mastering of the ceremonies, and last but not least, you, the viewers, who were patient and showed your full support to our participants. In closing, I would like to once again thank everyone who was involved, and I wish our representatives the best of luck in the regional iteration of the competition. Thank you all for attending, and good evening.
Thank you for that, Mr. Bradshaw. All that is left for me to do is to close today's proceeding. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your viewing, and for the audience members, thank you for sticking around for the past just beyond 2 hours. But it was well worth it, and I'm quite sure you agree. Thank you, and goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
That can give rise to a new realm of possibilities, provide the impetus to drive transformative progress, and evolve into a revolutionary change. The idea that indigenous higher education can help generations of West Indians to better themselves has not only spurred personal and regional development, it has also spawned solutions to numerous regional challenges and has accelerated this region's developmental trajectory. Over the past several decades, we at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus have witnessed adversity yielding to opportunity, enabling the idea of our researchers and innovators to flourish and add or create value. for society.
The existence and the sustained functioning of the University of the West Indies as a regional institution stand out as the greatest single accomplishment of the people of the Caribbean.
Our scholars and alumni are often in the vanguard of many developmental initiatives, from idea to implementation. And whatever the challenge, the university has remained resolute and resilient. Our Faculty of Law, which has provided a bedrock for much of the region's jurisprudence, has graduated legal luminaries who have gone on to occupy a number of the highest offices within and outside the region. Established in 1970 as the first faculty, it has also produced alumni whose imprint can be found on every facet of Caribbean society, sharing expert counsel on matters ranging from international trade to climate change negotiations, all of which add significant value to our society. While the Law Library leverages its unparalleled collection of Caribbean legal cases to international clients as part of the value creation process. Similarly, our advancements in medical as well as pure and applied sciences have earned global acclaim. Our pursuit of excellence in research for development has already earned the University of the West Indies high billing on the Times Higher Education ranking. However, the university has demonstrated its value to society not only in academic pursuits but also in times of acute need, notably during the public health response to COVID-19. UWI researchers undertook the mathematical modeling simulation to help regional governments calibrate their public health protocol at various critical junctures of the pandemic, while hundreds of student volunteers helped to map and ultimately contain the first community outbreak in Barbados by visiting every household. In keeping with the vision to foster a spirit of resilience, the Cave Hill campus is dedicated to providing a nurturing environment for our innovators, researchers, and entrepreneurs, while encouraging critical inquiry and a deep love for scholarship among those enrolled in our expansive undergraduate and postgraduate level programs across 7 faculties. The Faculty of Law, Science and Technology, Medical Sciences, Social Sciences, Humanities and Education, Culture, Creative and Performing Arts, and Sport. Whether advancing innovative product development to combat diabetes, shaping the future of an emergent medical cannabis industry, or seeking alternative energy solutions to help transform our regional economies, our cutting-edge research underpins how we make our economic presence felt within the region. Our ideas are also helping to shape global discourses, notably on issues of climate change and reparations for slavery. We are a global university engaged in collaborative research projects with international partners found in Europe, the United Kingdom, North America, the African continent, and elsewhere. Over the past 6 decades, the outstanding work of our faculty, staff, and students has helped our highly ranked University by the Sea to achieve global acclaim, a recognition for sterling advocacy against the scourge of climate change and advancing the cause of small island developing states.
Our support for this institution ought to be based not only on its capacity to serve, but also on its success in keeping all together. For the work which the university does is valuable, not merely because we get our money's worth, but because through it we know each other better, and best of all, because it should give the people whom we serve a cause for rejoicing.
The Cave Hill journey thus far has been and continues to be an exciting one. Our growing compendium of talent, skills, and expertise unleash unbridled creativity with a stream of ideas that add significant to our Caribbean civilization, demonstrating that the region's human resource development holds the key to even greater Caribbean development.